What's up, friends of 1% Better? This is Brandon, and today I bring you a review of Sex at Dawn by Christopher Ryan. Absolutely changed me. I gave this book 5 stars, loved it, and I think the thing with this book is people struggle to swallow the truth. Now, anything you read, there's no such thing as absolutes. Nothing is 100% true. So, like anything, take what you read with a grain of salt. However, in my opinion, in my mind, whatever, I really enjoyed the book, and I thought Chris put forward an excellent discussion on monogamy and related topics. So, without further ado, I've got my buddy Lloyd on the channel today to hook us up with a book summary of Sex at Dawn by Chris Ryan. So be sure to check out Lloyd's channel where he'll teach you how to get with girls. Here you go. Enjoy.
While one of the most widely popular books of the last few years, Sex at Dawn was as breakthrough as it was controversial. Sex columnist Dan Savage called it the most important book since Kinsey, while others, such as cognitive psychologist Steven Pinker, called it pseudoscience. So who is to be believed? In this video, we'll summarize the book, address its criticisms, and explore what useful information we can apply to our everyday lives. Sex at Dawn begins by asking the fundamental question, what is our true sexual nature? The answer to this question has long been the conventional narrative, which tells us that our natural state is a monogamous one between a man and a woman. In this model, the man trades resources such as food, shelter, and also protection for a woman's fidelity. This means the man will know that the child is his, and the woman will have someone to help take care of it. While many were angered that this reduced men and women to simply Johns and whores, the nuclear family, as it was called, had good enough explanatory power that it was widely accepted. However, even though the theory seemed to explain human behavior for the last 100 or maybe even 1,000 years, humans have been around for quite a bit longer. Evolution. According to our most recent archaeological evidence, anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, have existed for around 200,000 years. During most of this time, evidence suggests we lived in small communities numbering anywhere from 15 to 30 people, but never more than 100. Though many philosophers, such as Thomas Hobbes, refer to our Paleolithic years as barbaric and brutish, in these communities, fierce egalitarianism was practiced. Meaning not only was everything shared, but hoarding food or resources for yourself was gravely admonished. In a world where the food you collect and hunt that day is what you eat, this was a necessary practice. Thanks in part to this intense cooperation, Homo sapiens migrated all over the world and eventually invented agriculture, around 13,000 to 6,000 years ago. This advancement allowed one person to stay put and have more than another person by virtue of his farm. From this, possessions and property were invented. Once properties existed, men who worked the land could now claim ownership over crops, shelter, animals, and of course, women. The change is paralleled in the Bible as it declares, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his ox, nor his slaves." The crime here is coveting possessions, and the wife is one of them. Here is the basis for most of the monogamous relationships throughout history, where although love and attraction certainly played a factor, the most common reason for marriage was for status and control of possessions. This way of life has continued more or less until today, with very few immediate return hunter-gatherer societies surviving and the vast majority being post-agricultural. From this, we see that the standard narrative of the strict monogamous relationship has been around at a maximum of 13,000 years. When you compare this to our 200,000 years of existence, it can make up no more than 6% of our genealogical history. Far too short of a time for such a relationship to be considered natural, and far too short for us to have evolved to have this strict monogamous type relationship. Primates. Much as we like to think of our human species as unique, we are actually very closely related to another primate species. Chimpanzees and bonobos share 98.4% of our DNA and a common ancestor roughly 5 to 6 million years ago. We are more closely related to chimpanzees than African elephants are to Indian elephants. As the author says, we are not descended from apes, we are apes. Common chimpanzees have been studied extensively both in natural and controlled spaces to exhibit many of humanity's worst traits. Though they are social and cooperate in groups, they also commit various crimes such as murder, rape, infanticide, and even go to war in some cases. Though this paints a very dark picture of humanity's evolution, the bonobos have a far better one. Bonobos, in contrast to their chimpanzee cousins, are not patriarchal, but matriarchal. Resources are shared much more evenly, and the females keep their influence through kindness and affection. Forming bonds with other males and females, and having sex with the males and other females frequently to resolve conflicts as a greeting, and well, just 'cause. The most striking similarities they share with us is during these coital sessions, the bonobos actually face each other. No other primate, or any animal for that matter, does this. Both chimps and bonobos tend to have sex very frequently for the animal kingdom. Most primates, like gorillas, mate around 10 to 15 times per birth. Bonobos and humans number in the thousands per birth. This is very unique in the animal kingdom. The frequency of sex and the fact that we do it when the female is not ovulating are profoundly different from the rest of the animal kingdom. Most animals mate just to reproduce, but humans and other highly intelligent social creatures such as chimps and surprisingly dolphins do it for other reasons as well. Anatomy and physiology. The book then continues to discuss our various anatomic and physiological characteristics that indicate promiscuity. Cultures. Additionally, large sections of the book explore different cultures where the nuclear family is not practiced and promiscuity is encouraged, not admonished. In many of these cultures, the men treat all the various children as their own or help raise their sisters' babies, since they may not be sure which child is theirs. Criticisms. For all these reasons, the book does a very good job at turning the standard narrative completely on its head and proving that the nuclear family is by no means a natural occurrence. But the book doesn't do such a good job of providing an answer to the question it originally put forth. Clearly humans have sex for social functions, and not just to reproduce, and it's clear we tend to mate with not just one other person, but what is our true sexual nature? If it is not outright strict monogamy, what is it? Polyamory, which the book seems to hint at, monogamish, or just free-for-all orgies? The author even states he doesn't know. Additionally, further questions I have for this book are, being that humans are so promiscuous, why is it that we tend to have sex in private? Being that sex is a social function, what social function does it provide? Solidifying bonds, making alliances? If this is the case, why do we get so jealous? If you were looking for concrete answers to these questions, you won't get them here. With so many questions left unanswered, what can we learn from Sex at Dawn? While many people, after reading the book, see it as an outright damnation of monogamy, the author has stated many times in interviews that the reading shouldn't be taken so literally. Though open relationships are something that many Americans experiment with, committed monogamous relationships still tend to be the dominant form. But let's think for a minute. How many times have you been with a girlfriend or boyfriend and lied to them about thinking another person other than them was attractive? How many times do you think they have lied to you about this because they were worried you would get jealous? Divorce rates are as high as 40 to 50% in the United States. Infidelity is a leading cause, but lack of communication in this area was found to be the true reason of the split. If Sex at Dawn can teach us anything, it is that we are promiscuous creatures, and as amazing as a loving, committed relationship can be, there are times where the passion won't be as strong anymore, and our thoughts may turn to other things and people from time to time. Rather than unrealistically expecting ourselves and our partner to only ever be attracted to us, we should take some time to realize that it's only natural for us to occasionally want some strange. Though people should not use the book as a license to cheat and hurt others, we can use the book as a way to encourage us not to be so hard on our partners and love them even more for staying with us rather than punish them for thoughts which, like I said, are only natural. As the author states, monogamy is like vegetarianism. It works great for a lot of people and might be the best and healthiest choice for you, but that doesn't mean that bacon stops smelling good. Thanks a lot, you guys, and if you were looking for practical dating and pickup advice, come check out my channel, The Single Guy.